Good morning. It's Thursday, May 8th. I'm Philip Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. So we had some breaking news a few minutes ago. President Trump says in a Truth Social post that there is an agreement with the United Kingdom and it is a full and comprehensive one. He also added that many other deals are in serious stages of negotiation and are to follow. So you look at the market reaction here, markets overnight. The U.S. equity futures, they did rally. The dollar had strengthened after President Trump. He did hint that a major trade deal was imminent. He was expected to make this announcement around 9 a.m. Central Time, but he's leaking it out on Truth Social. So you look at the S&P 500 up about 1% at 57.11, kind of coming into that pocket resistance zone from 5,700 on up to about 57.50. Your critical level support is about 55.50 down to 5,500. So we've been in this trading range where the average true range on the S&P 500 has been about 800 points a day. Now you look at the dollar index, it is firming up about 0.5%, recapturing that 100 handle. The British pound is one of the better performing foreign currencies, and the Mexican peso is the other currency that is positive. So perhaps when he's talking about many other deals are in serious stages, perhaps Mexico would be the next one, and the currency market is front running that. You look at the Federal Reserve and their announcement yesterday, they signaled that they're in no hurry to ease monetary policy, and they warned that the higher tariffs could raise inflation and unemployment. So you see 2-year Treasury yields, they rose 4 basis points, and traders trimmed their odds of a July cut to around 80%. So really June, July, they are coming down a bit. If you look at the June meeting, it was about a 30% chance that they cut rates. Now it's down to about an 18% chance. So it seems like July would be the first one. They expect 3 interest rate cuts this year. And also the first fully priced in one is right around September. So Powell kind of hinted that it would be in Q4 when they would see that first interest rate cut. Now, something to note is that President Trump just criticized Jerome Powell, calling him too late and a fool who doesn't have a clue on Truth Social. So Bitcoin futures really interesting, recapturing the 100,000 mark. That's the first time since February. So you do have this risk-on appetite in many of the different markets out there, and we're seeing some safe haven liquidation. Things like 10-year treasuries, things like the gold market, markets like silver, all pulling back just a bit in this pre-market trading. So you look at some of the industrial metals here, copper under significant pressure, down about 1.5%. Could be a rotation into other asset classes. However, if you look at the copper market, closing in on critical support between 455 down to about 450. That's a market that I'm going to be looking at with many clients here today. Silver futures appear to be anchored right around the 32.50 mark, and gold futures continue to get some liquidation here. We saw the precious metal trade near 33.25 in the overnight session after losing 2% in the previous session. Now you look at the ETF flows here, and you're seeing the 4th straight day of declines with exchange-traded funds cutting about 11,000 troy ounces of gold. So not a big cut on that gold market here. I think that they were more on the fence on a wait and see, but they still are continuing to cut. You are also seeing ETFs cut about 260,000 troy ounces of silver in the previous holding. So the year-to-date percentage changes come in about the same levels here because of the small amount of the cut. Gold up 7.1%, silver up 2.1%. You look at the gold-silver ratio hovering between $102 and $103 per ounce. That key level is going to be the 97-1 on April 23rd. You look at crude oil futures, they are advancing, and crude oil is in an interesting predicament here. It's trapped where about the $63 to $65 level is your critical level of resistance. I thought it caught a lot of traders that were playing that support level off guard with the OPEC announcement. Now as we come back up to that, you should see some lightening up of positions, some liquidation occur. So expect to see that as some firm resistance up there. You look at the chart, you'll see a double bottom right around $55. That's your critical level of support on the crude oil market. Again, on copper, 455 down to 450. And then on the gold market here, really in these massive ranges, these $100 moves. We saw a $100 move overnight with 34.22 being the high, 33.25 being the low. You look at the silver market, about a 70-cent move here overnight. And then again, copper, about a 10-cent move overnight. Platinum futures trading right around 980, that critical level support coming in at the 960 mark. So you look at Bitcoin breaking out with a bullish flag pattern to the upside here. It's going to be interesting to see how low or how high it goes because of the fact that we've ran into some resistance points up at these levels. So you got the agricultural markets all rising overnight here after a significant washout in corn, in soybeans, in the wheat market in the previous trading sessions. So we will have some economic data coming out today, non-farm productivity, unit labor costs, initial claims, continuing claims, and wholesale inventories. If you got any questions on futures or option trading, send an email to info@bluelinefutures.com. We look forward to working with you over here. Many clients, many viewers of the Metals Minute here have also gotten the chart pack, the Metals Edge, and some of our other research. We do write a nice note on the energy markets, the agricultural markets, livestock, and also the S&P 500, which we put out nearly every single day. Now remember that futures and option trading, it does involve risk of loss, and it may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck and good trading.